Well, hello there.
Hello, hello.
So who am I speaking with?
I'm Martin from...
Silent Depth?
Yes, that's me.
Sir, Martin, hi.
Probably from the forums as well a bit.
Yes, sir. How are you guys doing today?
So far so good. Pretty late here already in Europe, but always lots of things to do.
Nils, you there? Martin took over his channel.
No, I think he's tried. There he is.
Yeah.
Sound like you got a rodeo going on.
Yeah, that's always the case when
Okay.
he picks up his headphone.
We're going to bring on Martin Leidel. Martin was the developer for Silent Depth, which was a mobile and PC U.S. American submarine game, World War II, that did really well. Martin, how you doing?
Well, I'm doing pretty well, and I'm very grateful that Nils contacted me the days back or years back already to join forces to create another game. And at that time in the past, I just had a full-time job, 9 to 7 in the IT industry, and but shortly after, I decided to take the risk, basically to do that full-time, what I'm doing now. And I never looked back actually and really like what I'm doing, even though we all know it took much longer than we all expected.
It always
It
does,
would
doesn't
take,
it?
yeah,
Always
yeah.
does.
Actually, he was kind of in the sonar industry because didn't you develop code for those ultrasound medical imaging machines?
That was right, but for
Yeah.
medical imaging, as you said, so
Yeah, but
nothing.
That's like the high frequency sonar on a submarine.
So you're doing
Kind of, yeah.
ultrasounds. You didn't have to worry about any kind of bolds or depth charges.
No. I mean, in our case, it was more like in the area of some centimeters, so nothing really that powerful. We even use it for kind of brain surgery and stuff like that. So
Right.
more in the microscopic scale, not so in the like for military stuff.
Give me a short synopsis of the Silent Depth Chronicles. I know you put that game out. At first, it was on a mobile, and I played it on my Kindle for a while, and then you ported it to the PC on Steam, and I played a whole lot of it on the PC.
Actually, it was meant to be a mobile game in the beginning, and it always kept one basically because we never really made a PC game out of it. You mainly see that in the UI stuff, of course, the large buttons and all that stuff.
Sure.
So
sure.
in retrospective, I'm not that sure if it was a clever move of mine to of a simple PC port, a lazy one, so to say.
Sure, but
I mean, I'm sure.
It did allow me to play the game on my big monitor using my mouse and my keyboard.
Yeah, because I thought, well, usually simulation guys, I mean, when I play games like simulation games, I usually play them on PC and not on a smartphone or tablet. And the PC market is, especially for simulation games, I think much more appealing. Not only for players but also for developers. But also, of course, yeah, the competition is larger as well. So with a game like Silent Death, there are quite really good submarine games out there, like Silent Hunter series, and which is a little bit different in the mobile market. I mean, there's Crash Dive, for instance, which is a pretty neat game. At the point when I kind of, or Nils came to me to kind of start with Sea Power, I kind of abandoned it, Silent Death, because you can just it's a bit difficult to work on several projects at once.
I can imagine.
Actually.
But so you moved forward onto Sea Power, and give me a update on how it's going before Nils tells you don't say anything.
Yeah, we initially we started with us three, just Przemek, Nils, and me. So I was basically the only coder, while Nils and Starry did all the graphics, the amazing art and 3D models and all that. And over.
Well, a long story short,
yes,
it probably grew a bit too ambitious for Martin to handle on his own. So we ended up hiring on the DOTMOD guys.
Yes.
And of course, DOTMOD is like one of the super mods for Cold Waters. One of those that they add new function. And they're pretty crazy actually. They add like new functionality and they add more ships and more subs and like actual new models to the game. So it came to a point where like they were adding a lot of the same stuff that we were working on. So I brought it up with Martin, and we kind of decided that it's probably a good idea to hire on a couple of these guys.
So you did a merge and acquisition, brought them into
the
fold.
Exactly.
Yeah, and made perfectly sense. I mean, I was always kind of a team guy, right? And it sometimes was even a little bit scary to do all that stuff my own. So I really enjoy now to even exchange ideas or get some different input or a different point of view of things which I did, or when I can guide them through other things, or so we really benefit from each other now. It's
that's the strength of collaboration.
Yes, exactly.
I mean, how many times do you see a movie from Hollywood that's got like 8 screenwriters? You got somebody that gets started, gets the bones built, somebody else comes along and they're inspired by some of what they see, so they add some more ideas to it, and before you know it, you've got a real well-rounded product.
Mm-hmm. That's true, yeah.
We have concepts that are ambitious in scope, as this is. You can only benefit from having more than one creative input into it.
Sure.
Yes.
So, like, every single member of a team is encouraged to own the project and provide as much creative input as possible.
And it's what also comes to that is that we all have quite some love to details, which is on the one hand it's quite unfortunate because it delays things, but on the other hand it really I think it really pays off in the end.
I just was going to use those exact same words from my experience working with the devs in Wolfpack. They don't seem to know how to take shortcuts and just good enough. They always build it out to the point to where when they're finished, you're always grateful they did it. And so you can never say, well, it's taking too long, because when they finish a part of the game, it's so good that you're just grateful that they put that much time and attention in it.
Actually, that's kind of my role in this team. It's like
the good enough.
That's when enough's enough.
Yeah. Say when it's good enough.
Yeah. Well, at some point it has to be, of course, but it's good that people are always looking for a better and more, and just adding quality wherever they can.
Yeah, of course. I'm guilty of that myself. But sometimes it's like that old Clint Eastwood quote: "A man's got to know his limitations."
Yeah. So sea power is the what time period is that set in? The teaser says it's naval combat in the missile age. Is the 60s, 70s, 80s?
Yeah. So as far as the current ship and plane set goes, it's pretty much like same period as Cold Water. So circa 83, 85.
All right.
But we're also going to have like historical scenarios that go back to like the Yom Kippur War and Vietnam War.
The Falklands battle?
Falklands is planned, but that's probably going to come post-release because like having to build the entire Royal Navy it's not a trivial undertaking.
No, I imagine it's not. Hello, Matt. How are you doing?
Not so bad. How are you?
I'm doing very well. Welcome to the broadcast. So, give me your role in this team, buddy.
So I'm one of the DOTMOD team that Nils has brought on. So I've done a load of the new features and functionality in DOTMOD and a lot of the newer models that have gone in. Unfortunately, of course, my modeling quality doesn't quite reach Nils's. So
Well, I've seen your
Every time I
DOTMOD
see his
work,
models,
and
I'm
you
astounded.
guys are legends.
I think it's kind of you say so.
So in the scope of Sea Power, you're basically doing modeling.
No, I'm doing mostly coding, to be
You're
honest.
coding, okay.
So yeah, so I've been helping out Martin and a couple of other coders. We've got some really really clever people, and I'm not one of them. So I just muddle
Don't
through where I
downplay
can.
yourself.
Yes, don't
British
do that.
education, that is.
No, that's my
So
shtick.
That's what you're known
Yeah.
for, huh? Keep them in their place.
And I've been doing a lot of UI work as well. So we're using a new UI framework that I haven't previously used before.
Okay.
So I've been learning a lot about that, and yeah.
Well,
So
he has his Matt here actually has his paws in a little bit of everything. So it's been quite instrumental in getting our carrier ops under development.
Well, Sea Power is going to be kind of like a modern take on Fleet Command. Once the action starts getting heated up and you've got planes in the air and submarines and you've got ships going everywhere, I mean, it gets to be a handful to control it all, to keep track of it and to manage it. How do you manage to do that in the game Sea Power?
Yeah, well, that's a tricky thing, right?
Is that part of the new UI that you're talking about?
Yeah, so the UI that we chose to implement, some background here. So I designed the UI for Atlantic Fleet and for Cold Waters. Well, Atlantic Fleet was pretty simple because it was essentially an extension of what we had in Pacific Fleet. And we just added a few new things to it, like we had a tactical map, we had data readouts. Yeah, we had a better damage report, and those sliders were different. They were like wheels, sort of wheels that you scrolled instead of having like arrows that you dragged around, so they were more responsive. Well, Cold Waters was more of a handful because initially the UI was designed for mobiles, for touchscreen. It had kind of a bottom bar where one part of it was fixed, and the other part was kind of like contextual based on if you were in like navigation mode, or if you were in like weapons mode or a sensor mode.
So it changed depending on that mode.
Yeah, exactly. And it actually was, think of it like the Crash Dive UI, but it had the extra stuff needed for like modern submarines. When turned into a PC game, we redesigned that. So we went for all keyboard controls.
Yeah.
So there were no buttons at all. And well, that wasn't good enough either. It was kind of, well, first of all, it looked really cheap because it was a little bit too Spartan. Well, we hired a guy to draw up some concepts for us, and he came up with this like display on the right-hand side that could change modes depending on what you wanted to do.
It's got the four tabs on it.
Yeah, which is kind of the idea we had in the mobile game, but forgot about. But well, we liked that, and then I said about redesigning it to fit into like to feel more like submarine equipment. So I took a lot of inspiration from Fast Attack. So for instance, like a tactical display you have in Cold Waters, it's pretty much based on the real Mark 81 display that they had on Sturgeons and 688s.
Yeah.
So it's a bit of a problem there because that UI became predicated on having clickable buttons for each function. The problem when you have like a discrete button for every function is that it doesn't scale very well. If you keep on adding functions, you have to keep on adding buttons, and eventually you're gonna run out of space.
It's gonna get pretty crowded.
Yeah, and well, that's kind of what happens with the Cold Waters UI approach. You can see that in, for instance, DOTMOD, where they added like a bunch of functionality. And they want to show everything at once as well, because, well, I designed this neat thing where you had like a small toolbar with buttons, and you could select which set of buttons you wanted. If you wanted like masts, or if you wanted like maneuvering, or if you wanted depth controls, right? Well, players being players, they want everything at once because they can.
Yeah.
So you end up with like with like more and more of a screen devoted to various UI widgets and less to the action. Yeah, exactly.
What was that, Matt?
Who needs a 3D view? It's all about the buttons.
It's all about the buttons and the toolbars.
I mean, submarines don't have windows. You don't need to see out.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
unfortunately, a lot of people like to see what the heck's going on, so trying to find a good
Yes.
balance between the buttons and the menus and the layers and drop downs.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
But
I mean,
mind
some
you,
of the
you
very
do get the
earliest concepts we had were sort of predicated on the cold waters type approach. I'll post a couple here. So I think at some point we ended up with like
So there's your mini
this.
map.
Yeah.
There's all your ordnance. And on the right, that's the overview of the unit that you're looking at.
Yeah, and there's still not space for everything.
Well, yeah. But
Yeah.
I see you got some little tabs on the left side. Those are nice, neat, and trimmed. That's exactly what I like. I click on one of those and I get the depth panel or I get the navigation panel. You got two of them that are the same. What's up with that? Y'all kind of economize?
So what we eventually ended up with, maybe I can just show something. What do you say, guys? We show him our game.
Yes, say yes.
Yes, yes, of course.
Jawohl.
No, I mean, why not? I mean,
Yeah.
it's still a work in progress, of course.
Of
but,
course, but I mean, hell, work in progress. That video I saw this summer, that looked amazing with the helicopter.
Oh yeah, it's been a while, right?
That was amazing.
Yeah, and we had that video with the Viking as well.
I couldn't understand
Showing
why
how
there
you can
was a
drop
Russian guy
sonoboy stuff.
talking so much.
Well, voice acting is a bit of a work in progress at the moment.
I see.
Yeah.
You need to know what your voice actors are going to say before you can get them all recorded after all, don't you?
That's true too. Yeah, that's why the voice acting probably comes in pretty late in the project.
So perhaps I can show something here.
Oh boy, here we go. Now I saw some of this in the video this summer. Some of this is similar to that.
Yeah, some of it is. So one of the things that's new since then is that we have a new rendering system for the underwaters. Now the camera can be, in the old games it was either above or below, but now it can
shift right across the median.
Yeah, so you can have some really nice shots. So the control system that we came up with essentially has a bar here.
Right.
And what you can do here, these are not interactive now, but they will be.
So you'll be able to
click on these and
change it?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
These here you can already put to use. I will, well, if it still works, you never know.
It's working.
Yeah, it is.
This is always the roulette game of what if the code is broken and not told everyone yet.
Yeah, exactly.
Got a Pat Martin on the back on this one.
So that's one thing that's very different from cold waters, that you have this level of control over the surface units. So we have a menu like this where you can access pretty much all functions.
And how do you get that menu? You click on the ship or you right click on the ship?
Yeah, right click on the ship.
Gotcha.
Or you can like right click on the
icon
of the map.
Yeah.
Do the same thing. But there's like you can access the weapons from here as well. You can access your sensors.
Yeah.
We pretty much designed the UI for maximum user convenience.
That's good. Because like I said, once the action starts getting hot, it's gonna be the kind of UI you need to enjoy the game at its fullest.
Yeah, exactly.
That's very impressive. Look at that. That looks really good. Really, really good. Oh, those guys better get back under the hatch now. Perfect. Oh yeah, look at there. That's really nice. Nice transparent effect. That's it.
Yeah, another thing to point out here is that the transparency is picked up by enemy helicopters as well.
Is it?
So if you're at periscope depth, you can be seen by enemy helicopters without your masts raised.
That's excellent. Now, what about the periscope? Is it detectable too at a certain range?
Yes.
Okay, that's
by
great.
radar and
Great.
visual. So we can
deploy the
you can now
towed array.
stream the towed array.
Here we go. That's why to this day I always hesitate to back up any naval vessel.
Yeah.
Because I'm always afraid I'm going to run over the towed array, even if I'm in a U-boat. When somebody says, "All back," I say, "Wait, pull the towed array in first." Neil, we don't have a towed array. Oh yeah, that's right. Sorry.
Shall we show him some of the really cool stuff?
Yes, we should. Wait a minute. Who said that? Martin? Okay, he said it was okay.
It was Nils. Okay.
Well, we can launch a torpedo here.
You have a target? There you go. Oh, sweet. Is it wire guided?
Yeah, we do have wire guidance in.
There it goes. Now he must be cavitating right now.
Yeah, he is. Let's pick another submarine.
Now all your submarines are nuclear, right?
No, we have diesels too.
Okay. Because the
And we have a snorkel mast
Okay.
model as well.
That's cool.
So this guy, let's get a periscope depth. And make sure we do not cavitate.
Yep. Stop cavitating.
And speed up a little bit. Up scope.
Yep. There's your scope.
Yeah.
There's your feather.
Yep. And we have a target. So surface. We'll surface and engage. Well, let's move this guy a little. Make him out. Let's move him a bit.
Got to get him within range.
Yeah, within minimum range.
So he's going to attack with missiles.
Yep. That's exactly what we're going to do. No. He's still outside of or inside of minimum range.
Oh, he's too close, not too far away.
Yep.
Okay.
Probably want our surface search radar up.
Man, this game looks good. It's ready to go. It's ready to release. Let's go. I'll announce it's coming out tomorrow.
Well,
he's just minding his own business.
Yeah, conveniently we have a targeting helicopter. So, let's fire.
Oh, look at that. That's cool. There goes his booster.
Yep.
He even has splash effects from the booster. Now, how many missiles does a submarine like this carry?
8 of them.
Or 10?
Yeah, and 4. It has 4 twin launchers.
Gotcha.
And has stern tubes as well.
For torpedoes.
Yep.
Yeah.
So this submarine has to stay on the surface in order to guide his missiles to the target.
He can't go back down?
Nope. The missiles are data linked to the firing ship. So that's why he has that big radar in front of the sail to track them.
Yeah, that might be some thrilling moments for the submarine guys there, right?
Yeah, really tense.
Yeah.
Everybody got the life jacket on, they're ready to jump.
Let's see what happens.
Uh-oh, here he comes. Boom, I'm the captain now.
You'll see, of course, the power of this potentially. If you've got a fleet with a targeting helicopter and then a cruise missile submarine off to the side somewhere hidden,
yeah,
you can keep your cruise missile sub out of range, pass the targets on put from the targeting helicopter, and attack without ever giving away the position of your main fleet or your submarine.
Right. Well, that would sound like the most important thing is if you pick up a helicopter on your radar, you want to take them out as quick as you can.
Absolutely. But is it an enemy helicopter or is it a civilian aircraft that just happens to be flying around very slowly? What if it's an oil rig workers going to their oil rig?
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah, so target identification is a big factor here. Well, let's pick another submarine.
Oh, there you go. It just says submarine, so that's not nuclear submarines. You have an Israeli submarine? Do they have submarines then?
Yeah, we have them, but they're not set up.
Okay.
So at the moment, we only have those Russian conventional ones. But we have everyone's favorite.
Yeah.
So you can see already here that actually these models are all new. So they've been completely remodeled from what was in cold waters. And we even have ballistic missile submarines.
All right. Will we get to use those in any scenarios?
No, we haven't actually modeled nuclear weapons.
It'll be kind of like the last mission of the campaign is, well, launch all the nuclear missiles.
Yeah, well, as far as the campaign goes, a major goal for either side is to find and destroy the other side's ballistic missile subs.
Yeah. So let me ask you this now: how do you measure the capabilities of each model, each unit, each side? How do you keep one side from being overbalanced to make the game interesting?
There is no balance because, well, historically, the two sides had rather different doctrines. So there is no balance, and of course, the campaign you can play it as the Soviets and you can play it as the Americans. And of course, if you create your own scenarios, you can play them in whichever side you want, and quite a few of the scenarios feature rather asymmetric forces, Iranians versus the US Navy.
Right.
That's quite one-sided, but on the other hand, it creates a challenge. Can you win as the Iranians?
Well, I imagine if you set up a specific battle, you can make it more winnable for the Iranians.
Another thing, of course, with fast inshore attack craft and similar things in a similar vein, is that if you've got a large warship, the warship has to get lucky every time, whereas your fast inshore attack craft only have to get lucky once.
Yep.
To paraphrase the IRA there.
Yep. Now we're talking. That looks so good. You got crew, flight crew, and everybody there. You got your tail hook wires, catapult.
Yeah, for some reason the flight ops are not working at the moment, presumably because they're being worked on.
Sure. Nils, that looks really good though. The water and everything.
Yeah, thanks. It's well, we have a really good team, and everybody's really good at what they're doing. At least the other guys.
I'm impressed.
I just try to keep up.
Sure.
Yeah, Martin and I are just here to make up the numbers, really.
Well,
even this ship has exciting animations.
It raises launcher tubes. There it goes in the water. So let me ask you guys, I know this is probably a rhetorical question, but have you ever stopped to think that you guys are the foremost in the world at what you do? You are the world's best development team for period modern warfare, naval warfare.
Well, I wouldn't say that.
Who else is doing it?
Let's release first.
Yeah,
we can.
Yeah, no, there's there are other teams working on projects as well, and they're doing pretty solid work too.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, as Martin said, let us ship the game first, and then we can see if it's.
You can bask in the glory later.
If it's any good or not. Well, we're trying our hardest to make it as good as possible.
Yep, you can tell. You can tell by looking at it.
But well, like we said earlier, there's a lot of moving parts.
Oh yes.
Yeah, here's one of the aforementioned landing ships. By the way. So, well, you can show off. Here's one of the new cool features.
So you select the ordnance that hits it, and that's what the result is.
That's our little testing tool.
Yeah. Basically, can select the ammunition type and then just simulate impacts.
Yes. And that's pretty cool. My custom ship.
SUBSIM.
SUBSIM, and it sank the ship. All the fire started catching up when you finished the word. Well, that's pretty impressive. What else you got?
Well, bombs.
Oh, no. That is nice fire effect, too.
Yeah, that's all premix work.
Premix works good. The Premix's been with you since Atlantic Fleet or Pacific Fleet?
Yeah, Atlantic Fleet. We actually go way back. I know him from my Strike Fighters modding days.
Okay.
So, yeah, I think we're coming up on at least 15 years of knowing one another.
That's excellent. She can't take much more. Yeah, we've come a long way.
Yeah, we're gonna revise these fire effects too.
Yeah. We've come a long way since the Red Storm Rising and Fast Attack days.
Well, Fast Attack had pretty cool animations.
Oh yeah, for its time. You hold it up side by side with this. It's almost like Pong.
Yeah, but I know those old games had a charm to them.
Certainly
that's not necessarily always there in modern games. But yeah, one of our goals here was that we looked at real ship damage, and we tried to go for an authentic result. So fire will eventually scorch the paint off of ships as well.
Yeah.
And well, we would like to think that the final result looks.
Can you repeat that?
Quite compelling.
What was that you said?
We would like to think that the final effect looks quite convincing.
I think so. I think I can see all the work you guys are putting into it. I got to say, I admire you. Looking forward to getting another look at this firsthand when you guys send me a playable build.
Yeah.
To test
the campaign. Hopefully that won't take too long.
So by Christmas? Not that soon.
Nah, no promises.
No promises. I understand. Well, there's no pressure on you, really. But
he didn't mention a year, right? So.
No, he didn't mention the year. Yeah, Christmas 2024. No, I think the approach you're taking is working pretty good.
It'll be over by Christmas.
Oh. Well, originally we thought we could have this game out by the end of 2020, so we were clearly a bit too optimistic.
Yeah, but now we have you, Matt, and the other guys, so that's.
I just like to bark in everyone else's glory, so don't put too much on me.
Well.
No, but seriously, it speeds up things.
No, but like everybody else who's on the team, you're an indispensable part of it.
Yes.
I think what I found, because I've been a recent joiner into the team, really, there's a really good interplay between everyone who's involved. So we've got a lot of different skills between us and a lot of different backgrounds between us. So some of us are slightly more practical, some of us have a computer science background, some of us have engineering backgrounds. So we're able to have that conversation around something from a multiple variety of viewpoints and able to come up with some quite nice solutions to things. Been really enjoyable working with everyone.
Well said, Matt.
Thank you. Yeah, indeed.
Yeah, and I also think it's a place to the strengths of this modern world that we have, where it is possible to have this kind of dispersed company structure. Because quite literally everybody is in different countries on the team.
Sure.
And yet we still manage to coordinate and get things done. And I think a key to that is that everybody who works on the project, they're really interested in the subject matter. And there's no micromanagement going on here. So even if I'm technically the CEO and lead, I don't strut around telling people what to do because I know I don't have to.
That's great.
Yeah, because I can just let the guys loose, and they will do the absolute best they can because they want to see this game done just as much as we do.
That's the advantage of working with professionals.
Yeah, but it's like you have to have trust in your people, and well, like I've been doing this for a long time, right? I've been doing this like 10 years now, working like this, and I don't think you actually need the kind of traditional office where everybody has to come in at the same time and sit at from 9 to 5. At least not in this business. If you know how to communicate and delegate tasks and trust the people you work with, then you can get it done. It's like most of us have families and children, so well, interruptions happen, and maybe it's not possible always to spend a full working day like without interruptions, but that's okay as long as because work always gets done anyway in the end.
Especially when you're self-motivated and you want to get it done.
Yeah.
Very well said. Well, Nils, Martin, Matt, I really want to thank you for spending some time with me. This is going to be excellent. I'm going to edit this into a workable video. Might actually make it 2 videos. Is there anything else you want to follow up on before I close out the video?
Well, from my side, thank you for your time and that opportunity. And it's, I mean, personally, I really kind of, so SUBSIM is actually the community where I started all that. And without SUBSIM, I wouldn't know Nils actually. And I'm really grateful for that place. So from my side, thank you for that and for the nice talk.
Well, yes, sir. You're very welcome.
Yeah, I mean, without it, there wouldn't have been a killer fish either. So.
Wow. Well,
so all started there.
Yeah.
I'm just glad to be a big part of it. I'm sorry, I'm just glad to be part of it because, my mission statement always from the beginning was to do whatever I could to foster cooperation and interest between people that like submarine games and people that make submarine games. I think it's a pretty compelling hobby, and this is going to be probably the golden age of these type of games. I mean, you would have thought that late 90s, early 2000s might have been, but the stuff we're getting in the last 3 or 4 years, it's really, really been a lot of fun to cover it.
Yeah, I think, well, for a long time, it seemed like the genre was dead. Because, like, well, the last Silent Hunter game came out in like 2010, and the last nuclear sub game came out in 24, I think, or 26, something like that. And well, there haven't really been a whole lot of like really good, like realistic surface action games either, unless you count pure strategy titles like for instance Command, which is a very good title, certainly one of the seminal naval strategy titles of all time. But when it comes to like these things that we do that are kind of more in the sort of Silent Hunter tradition of things, I mean, that genre pretty much seemed dead a decade ago.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, once we found that Ubisoft, when they didn't finish Silent Hunter 5. They didn't really completely finish the game. And then they moved on to the Silent Hunter Online, which was going to be an effort to, I don't remember what they call it, pay-to-play game or subscription game.
Free to play, yeah. Free to play,
yeah.
Pay to win, I think, is what you're looking for.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Free to play, pay to win. I mean, I don't have a problem with that kind of game, but I just don't know if it really fits the genre of a Silent Hunter game. And I think if we all were thinking in the back of our heads, we're waiting for Ubisoft to come back to life and make Silent Hunter 6. But honestly, I think we've got some games now. Silent Depth came out. Crash Dive is great. Crash Dive 2 is better. U-Boat is a pretty darn good game. And the people that are making it are dedicated to it.
Yep.
So
and there's that new Destroyer game that came out.
That game is great. I love that game. I've been playing the hell out of that game.
Yeah, and there's of course your own game, Wolfpack.
That's been fun too.
Yeah.
So it's like there's been an underground resurgence, like punk rock or something. And it's turning out you guys and these other teams are turning into the masters of the genre. Nobody's really coming up with any deficits.
Well, I guess it's because at some point, all of us who are in this genre will like to take the risk because, well, we like this stuff and we're pretty normal guys and gals. So there must be others who like this sort of stuff too.
Sure.
So hence there will be a market for it.
I think you're right. Matt, Martin, Nils, I'm going to wrap this up. Thank you again for your time, and I really love to see your game. Thank you for sharing that with me.
Yeah, thanks. Thank you. It was cool to talk to you again.
All right, guys.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye.
You guys have a good holiday if I don't talk to you sooner.
You too.